hey, you can do it too, even though you don't like it. You can do it. You can show up. People want to see. They want to see who you are. They're going to connect with you. They're going to connect with that quieter energy. And you can
Hmm.
bring that energy, you can bring that more centered, more level energy as well too. And people are going to love it. Not everybody
For
wants to
sure.
see, that high energy person. That's not how they're going to connect with people.
Welcome to the Coast Podcast. I'm Emilie, a virtual assistant agency owner who left Amazon in 2019 to build my dream.
And I'm Whitney, a freelance writer and communications consultant who never felt at home in a cube farm.
We wanted to learn from people who paved their own ways like we did. So we created this podcast to talk to others who are brave enough to pick a different path. Creatives, entrepreneurs, people doing their careers and their lives their way.
Join us as we make new friends, get inspired, and show you beautiful paths less traveled.
Not every road leads to the coast, but the ones that do come with a great view.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Coast. My name is Whitney Popa. I own a communications consultancy in Edmonds, Washington, and I am a newly minted author. And today's guest and I can get into our love of books as well. There's so many things that we can talk about today. Emilie is not here, so we're recording this on April 16th. Just yesterday on her Instagram and Facebook, if you follow her, or I don't think I shared it to the Coast. I didn't, but Emilie has asked for hugs and vibes and prayers, whatever feels right to you, because her husband, Billy, was very all of a sudden kind of diagnosed with something called Guillain-Barré syndrome. I might not be pronouncing that correctly. It's an infection that is attacking his immune system, or his immune system is attacking his nerves. He's currently in the hospital, and it sounds like it's going to be a long road to recovery. Typically, from what she's learned so far, and this is a moving target, people make a full recovery, but it can take up to a year. So keep him and her and their family in your mind. Right now, we don't know what that means for her in her relationship with the coast, and we're just doing our best to be out here having conversations and supporting her and making sure that we continue to be the best to each other. And the whole intention of this was to create community, and that includes relationships with other business owners as well as Emilie. So be thinking of her. And for now, we'll turn our attention to Kristina, who is a brand photographer. Let me pull up your bio so that I get it correct. Kristina is owner of Kristina Pearl Photography, and she is a personal branding photographer for business owners. This has been a long time coming, so welcome to the Coast, Kristina. I've been asking for a while, and we had to reschedule, so we appreciate you being here. And I've been really interested in Kristina's work for a while because you focus primarily on, I don't want to say small to be like reductive, but like kind of the same ecosystem that we're all in, of these like female run small business owners. And I'd love to learn from you, because you have a cool history before you got to this, of like how you became a photographer after all the things that you did before.
hmm Yeah. So I used to be a massage therapist. So I started in the massage therapy world. I was a massage therapist for about 13 years. Definitely a love-hate relationship. I love taking care of people, but I hated what it did to my body. And it breaks down your body a lot. Average lifespan of a massage therapist is 3 to 5 years. So I was definitely in the longer end of it. And yeah, I knew I wanted to transition out of it. I had dabbled in photography for 10 years previous to that, to actually starting my business. And it was initially I just, was our family's photographer. I have a big family. So I would just, bring the camera and take photos of our, time together and just having fun, just really just in action, true lifestyle kind of event photography stuff. I had found that I wanted to learn a little bit more of like the technical aspect of what makes a good photo and how to actually intentionally make good photos versus just like, oh, hey, this is a great photo, and not really realizing why it's a great photo. So I ended up taking a course at, what was it, Green River Community College, just their continuing education, for fun program. And it was really funny. So the teacher, I think it was like first or second day of the class, it's like once a week for like 7 weeks. So really easy. And he was like, well, maybe some of you are going to be my competitors. I'm like, no, this is just for me. I'm here just to kind of learn and explore and just get better for myself. And now I'm like, oh, hey, he could technically be my client because he's a business owner. I could photograph him doing his thing. So it's just kind of funny where that progressed. And so initially, learning photography wasn't my intention to actually start a business, but it quickly kind of evolved into realizing, oh, hey, I love it. I love, I can take care of people in a different way. I can get images for them. And, I was dabbling in, newborns, families, a little bit of like small weddings, senior photos, and loving it. But then also realizing I hadn't quite found my niche in photography. And so once I found business owners, which was doing a project, just a fun project with two other business friends, and just realizing, oh, like after I'd given these images to her, she's a hand stamped jewelry maker, and seeing her use these, in action, how to create, your jewelry and showing that. And then she would use them. I was like, this is really cool. What is this? Like, what type of photography is this? Popped it out into the other Facebook groups, to other photographers, like, what is this photography? And I got the word, branding photography, and looked into it, delved into it, like, oh, this is it. Like, this is who I want to work with. This is who I want to niche into. And I'm ready to finally start my photography business. Because I've been going back and forth with thought process for a while, but I was too scared for the longest time. And it wasn't until I found that, like, okay, this is the niche I want to work with. This is who I want to work with. I want to work with business owners. I can help them in a different way. I can be their, 1, 2 steps in their ladder to success without breaking my body and still help them in their business, achieve their goals and be seen. Yeah, that's kind of how it kind of progressed into a business.
Yeah. And I feel like last year, and this is just my experience because we've been cross-pollinating at all these different events for the past couple of years. And there was an event last year where you were the photographer there. And I think the first time, it's always Danica. Like we met at the Danica event when you were probably first like dabbling and still learning a little bit. And then last year at this event that we were all at where I sponsored it with Molly and Sam, you were the photographer there and you were talking about that you had recently bought a new lens. And to me, that felt like this is her investing in like leveling up and really telling herself, like, I am a photographer of these types of people and things now. Can you walk us through that decision and transition for you of like, this new lens equals my next level?
Yeah, that was the Divine Pearl soiree event in Edmonds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I remember that conversation telling you because I was like, yeah, I'm going to buy it. I hadn't purchased it yet, but I was like, okay, I know this is the lens I need. I'm getting frustrated with these other lenses. And just like two of my other photo shoots, I'd had frustrations with the lenses I had. And they were, great little lenses, great little budget lenses, entry lenses. But I was like, okay, this is frustrating me. I need to truly make this investment and it's going to be good. It's going to give me exactly what I want, exactly what I need. So I was like, okay, it's time to take that investment. It's over $3,000 lens. So it's a scary purchase for sure. But I remember after I talked with you, like, okay, yeah, this is exactly what I need to do. And I think you helped me with that little conversation of like, oh, hey, you're ready to do it. And I'm like, oh yeah, I am. I am truly ready to do this.
Have you found that it's helped you?
I have. It's been, yeah, it was kind of one of those, I'm like, it just made some of my shoots just easier because it gave me that range, the technical part of it too. But then also like realizing like, oh, I can make investments back into my business and they're going to be good and they're going to help me. And it's just going to help me grow and get better and better at what I do. And also just, put in the universe like, hey, I've put it out there and now it's going to come back into me and I'm ready and I'm open to receiving that.
Exactly. Yeah, I remember like how scary it was for me to start investing in my business and like buy one of the first investments I made in my business was buying an admin system because I was chasing money and invoices, and that felt so gross, especially for small amounts. Not that the small amount matters, but it kind of does because it was like I had extra resentment because it was such a small amount. And then I was like chasing all these people, please pay me my $200 or whatever it was. And it just felt so like Oliver Twist, like, please, can I have some more? Like, it's $200. Like, don't make me beg for this. And I remember like and it was during COVID too, that I was like, my client load had significantly dropped because everybody was freaking out, didn't think they could or wanted to invest in marketing services anymore. And then here I was ponying up $25 a month up front for the year to be like, this matters. I'm not going to chase money anymore. And it completely changed everything because then I like 3x'd my clients right after that. And it's funny because like you saying that I'm doing the same thing right now in my like second business where I have to pony up a lot of money up front and you don't know what the future holds. Like I'm ready, I'm willing, I'm out here and like vibrating at a higher level, but like, will it come back to me? And like really indexing on that like faith and surrender and all these things that are so scary, especially when you are a business owner and your margins are like tighter and you don't have a huge budget to be throwing at. Like a $3,000 lens is a significant investment. Just like me, Michelle's working on my website for my publishing house. And I'm like, oh, like I love you and I care to invest in you, of course, and pay your full price. But also like, you got to put me on a payment plan for this.
Yeah, it's a scary thing to do. I mean, it's good once you actually do it, but initially, your brain wants to protect you, and so you're like,
oh yeah,
maybe not. Maybe this isn't right. But yeah, I've realized that it's like the things I'm scared of are the things I need to do even more. And the ones I kind of realize, like, okay, I'm scared of doing this. Well, this is why. Okay, it's time to just do it. Pull the trigger, pay the money, send the invoice or whatever it is. Feel the fear a little bit and then just do it.
Yeah. And we've talked about too, like your approach to pricing, like, was that in tandem as well? I know you like adjust your pricing throughout like the year and various things, but like when you got that lens where you like, and now I'm going to adjust my pricing as well, or was that after?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember. I know I did. I mean, I have been increasing my pricing, right? Because, initially I started off, January 2020, lower, right? I'm new to branding. I'm still learning. So I'd price low and I've been increasing since then. I still am in my increase range right now. But yeah, I mean, I'm guessing I probably did sometime shortly after that because just realizing like, okay, I need to. I've spent that money. Now it's time to recoup that. And this is going to help me. So yes,
Yeah,
it's time.
I'm kind of at that place, like with my copywriting business where I'm thinking about like, I never thought you kind of have to see other people and that they like that it's something that's available to you. Cause like I read in a book and I hear all the time, like copywriting is one of the most valuable things. And some copywriters don't even get out of bed for less than $10,000. And I'm like, shit,
Yeah.
do I need like, am I a luxury copywriter? Like, I think I am, but where can I feel good about that too? And like just making a huge jump. And I don't know how it feels to you, but for me, if I went from like a 5-page website costs you $5,000 for copywriting to all of a sudden be like, no, this costs $10,000 energetically, I'd have to get there first. I'd have to embody that. And for me, that's taken more smaller steps to get there. So maybe it would be 6,500 instead of 5,000. And these are just arbitrary numbers that I'm throwing out versus making that huge shift just straight to $10,000 because I have to be in that energy first and feel worthy of charging that amount. If I am not able to meet that, then the client's not going to sign.
Yeah, that's what I've had to do too, is just kind of step it up a little bit. Like, okay, time to raise it by, like $200. And then, okay, once I've, done this many clients in, this price range, then it's time to step it up again. That's why I've kind of been stepping it up as well too. And when I hit that, like, okay, I'm getting annoyed at this price range. I should be making more, but I'm scared to do it. Then I go through and read some or listen to some audiobooks of, money mindset books. And so I have like 3 that I go through and put them on, and I'll go through and kind of, journal through the things that I'm feeling to kind of go past that upper limit issue that I'm having.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do
I
you
love that
have
book.
do you have the names of those for our
Yeah.
audience to write down?
Yeah. So I'll get them from the library audiobooks, for free, which it's Get Rich Lucky Bitch.
Mm-hmm.
You're a badass at making money.
Mm-hmm.
And then also another one I like doing is Big Leap. He has a good one as
Nice.
well too. So
Yeah,
those are 3 that I listen to.
I've heard that recommended a bunch. And one of the things that I've found that's really in parallel with your business and mine is that you have this service-based business where you could sit back, like at this point, you have a portfolio, you have people coming to you, you're able to respond to inquiries and sign up for hell yeses. And that is a little, I'm not going to say it's easier, but it's kind of nice that it's a little bit more reactive versus proactive. And I'll just speak for me. When I started my business, it was very reactive in the sense that I started my business with a big client and then I just found a few more and waited for people to come to me because I had established myself as this person who did these things versus pursuing my own ideas. And I made it a goal for myself to make money off of my own ideas and have that be at least 10% of my income this year. Last year it was 5%. My workshops and things like that. And I've become increasingly comfortable being like, oh my gosh, I just pulled this out of my brain. It is my brain baby and somebody's giving me money to do it. And I've seen you do that really well recently too, where like you probably have this funnel of inquiries at any given time. Like sometimes it's a heavier flow.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like periods. Than others. But you have people coming to you and in tandem, you're like, what do I want to create? And kind of vulnerably putting out there, like, I have this idea to go hug trees
Mm-hmm.
and do these wilderness shoots. Who wants to come with me and like buy into that? What's that process been like for you? Like when you started your business, you immediately had these concepts, or did that come over time, or what does that look like?
Yes, my adventure field trips is actually a client actually helped kind of label them. I was like, oh yeah, that's what it is. We're going on an adventure. It's a little field trip, with a group of people. And it was actually just doing that in session. So just a regular client session and just finding like, oh, I love this. I want to do more of this. So how do I do more of this? Well, I need to create that myself. And is that definitely scary to do and put something new out there? Yes, very much so. So one of those things, like same thing, right? I'm scared to, start this new thing. So I need to do it. So yeah, it's just been those where I love them, totally interesting. And I'm excited to do it again this year. I was been like trying to figure out like how many times a year do I want to do that? Do I want to do it seasonally to get different like seasonal looks? And I know I'm going to do them again this spring. I do have my date for that in June, like end of June on a Friday. I like the Friday dates. I figure for those ones. So we can go out in nature. And then after that, you can kind of take the rest of the day off, right? You're done. So kind of use that as your Friday. Let's have fun in nature and take a photo shoot. And this is business. I'm getting something done for my business. And then now we're done and we can go, take it off for the rest of the week, have an early weekend.
Yeah. So fun.
Yeah, they're really fun. It's just been something that I've found that I've wanted to do and create, and then just creating it myself, which is also like I'm doing my first retreat, hosting my first retreat. It's been a fun thing to just do, and I didn't want to do it myself, so I found someone to co-host that I thought would be a good person. So her and I are working together with that, which it's good, but then it's also hard as well too, because when you co-host with someone, you also have to get their approval on things as well too. You can't just make all the decisions by yourself. So it's that tandem partnership with people, as you kind of know what it's like, with this as well too. You have to get approval before you do something. Whereas when you're just your solo business owner, you're like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this decision. And that's just what it is. You don't have to collaborate with other people.
Yeah. Tell us about the retreat.
Yeah. So it's going to be May 30th to June 2nd. 3 nights for up to 6 business owners, female business owners, because we're going to all be spending the night together. I'm going to do a piece of a mini branding session within the house space. So it's more of for business owners who want to show that kind of, maybe I like to read, or I want to have coffee, or maybe I like to work at like the kitchen table. I like to meditate or go outside as well too, because there's a beautiful space outside as well. We can go in nature, or just sit underneath trees, or, it's kind of depending on what the vision is for them. And then my co-host, Laura, she works with this yoga and like breath work and presentation as well too. So she's going to do a 90-day wellness plan with everybody. That's right. Because as business owners, if we need to take care of ourselves and we're not taking care of ourselves, we're going to crash, we're going to burn out. So we got to take care of, whole, body, mind, soul in order to do our business. So it's kind of a time to, rejuvenate, relax, kind of disconnect from everything in business and focus on yourself. Because you'll also be leading through, meditations and different yoga, and we'll do a little bit of nature walks as well too. So it's a lot of time to really just reconnect with yourself, and just other business owners, they're within that same mindset as well too, of taking time for yourself. And then we'll release you back into the world and back into business. And we want to also, the following month after that, kind of reconnect on, a Zoom call and just get back together. How is it going? How are your 90-day plans go? How are you using your branding photo? So yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah. Where is it?
In Stanwood.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, so not that far, because I wanted to stay within Washington. Make it easy.
Yeah. I'm wondering too, again, this is like just me projecting all the time of like, I've found, as much as, even if I love something, as much as I love what I do, it's a lot of work to promote all of these things. Have you been surprised in how much work it feels like for certain things to promote them, like your own ideas, where it's a little bit more vulnerable anyway? This has just been my experience, where it's like, especially when you first start pursuing your own ideas, for me, it felt really draining to constantly talk about it. And even before we started recording, I was telling you, like, what I often tell women is like, this is your stage. This is your place to promote yourself. And we're so not used to that, like having permission as women generally, that it's very uncomfortable for us. So even me, somebody who's like, I want to talk about this all the time, then I'll go into that, like, am I being annoying? And then do I care? And I've released the caring, and you do a lot of like mindset work as well. But I'm curious about your relationship with self-promotion, especially for your own ideas, and how that's evolved in your business.
It's been it's been one of those things where I've had to constantly work on, right? Because I like started photography, right? I'm like, well, I want to be behind the camera. I don't want to be in front of the camera. I want to take everybody else's photos. And then I went into like, oh, hey, I'm going to be a branding photographer. Well, I got to practice what I preach. So I also got to be in front of the, camera as well too. So I had to learn how to just be in, a still photo, be the person that's also being vulnerable, showing myself and showing like, oh, hey, these are photos of me, and this is how you can connect with me. This is who I am, in photos. And then so I was sharing that out, got comfortable in that, realizing, oh, hey, social media is a big piece in, this, small business promotion. So I also need to do video. And I'm like, oh crap. I don't like doing video. Like, it's my least favorite, it's not my comfort area to be at all. So I've had to kind of work past that. Initially, I started with, having my kids with me. So it made it a little bit easier. And then we could kind of banter back and forth. And I'm still not comfortable showing up on video, but I know I have to do it. And I know people want to see that. Even though I am uncomfortable, I know that they're like, oh, hey, but she's showing up and I want to hear what she has to say. Right now, this month, my affirmation has been my voice matters, because people want to hear what I have to offer. So I've been writing that every single month in my journal, kind of remind myself that people want to hear me. They do truly want to hear me. And I'm not speaking enough because, even with social media, right, you're not always shown everything all the time. So even if I do post about it, a bunch in, all the week or whatever, they're only going to maybe see it the 1 out of, the 5 times, even though I don't post that much, but
right.
So they're only going to see it, hear it that once. They're not going to hear it most likely they won't see it and hear it every single time I post it. So really, even though I'm posting it, to my email and then Instagram and talking about it on, in my in-person networking. And so I keep on reminding myself, like, just share it. People want to hear it. They need to hear it, 7 times. And then I heard recently that actually people need to hear it even more than that.
Yeah. 13.
Someone else. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. So I need to share it even more.
Yeah.
And just get over myself because people want to hear it. And if they don't want to hear it, well, it's okay. They can scroll past it. They can skip past it. They're not the people that are ready to hear it or see it. Yeah.
I've been amazed too at how people will cheer you on just for showing up, and that it really is like you doing a service to them to give them permission to do the same. And I fixate on the female part of it because it's how I identify. And so I'm like, especially for women, I feel like it's my duty to continue like to show up and show them that it's okay and to use their voice. I remember even when I hosted my first workshop, I charged $10 and I was just this was not even very long ago, like 2 years ago. And I was so amazed that people would give me money to hear things out of my brain, and so honored. And I like really went above and beyond for them of like offering them all these extras after the fact for $10. I've noticed for me, like as a business owner, it's very much like, yes, I'm offering this thing that I'm good at to these people. And also it's such a growth thing for me, getting out of my own way. Like it really does. Being a business owner has shown me so much of the things that I need to work on and my shadows and my opportunities to show up better and more fully and be a complete human. And to your point of like taking care of yourself with that retreat, it is so interconnected. Like at night, I'll make sure that I ask myself, how can you treat yourself well in this moment? Every day, but especially at night when I'm feeling like, okay, you've done a lot, treat yourself the way like you treat your best friend or your kids, and just take it easy, take the night off, because you could just work all the time. And if I feel any kind of indication of burnout, I haven't been sick in 2 years because I've taken such good care of myself when I feel that coming on, and it's made me better. And I'm sure like you're really tapped into that as well. Like, okay, what do I need? How can I be my best and take care of myself? And it's not just running the business, because you are the business.
Yeah. And then to another point, it's like people that are more quiet, I think we need to show up even more because we have this quieter voice. Whereas, you have the very high energy people where they have no problem showing up, right? And you can tell that they're comfortable and, they're that obvious leader. Whereas, the quieter people, when we come on, we're not, jumping around. We're not, like there's just a different energy that we hold. And we need to share that too. Like, right. Like, okay, I probably should stay as well too. Like, okay, this is not my favorite place to be, but I'm here anyways. Right. To kind of share people like, hey, you can do it too. Even though you don't like it, you can do it. You can show up. People want to see, they want to see who you are. They're going to connect with you. They're going to connect with that quieter energy. And you can bring that energy, you can bring that more centered, more level energy as well too. And people are going to love it. Not everybody wants to see, that high energy person. That's not how they're going to connect with people.
Oh yeah, I just unfollowed someone this morning who I had followed years ago, and I love her, but like a big influencer where I was like, "Oh, you're dancing for me. I don't want to dance. I don't want to see your dances." Like this relationship is complete for me for now. And yeah, I mean, I would love to see your quiet energy. And I'd also invite you, and this is something that Jillian and I talk a lot about in our Instagram classes where we disagree. Honestly, I'm very into intuitive marketing. So I always encourage people to explore, like, we're all beat over the head with what's trendy, what's the algorithm into right now. And I believe it's worth trying and exploring once or twice. If you feel super resistant, like, I hate this, this is not for me, don't do it. But there's a difference between like what you're saying of like, I'm uncomfortable and I'm willing to explore this more. And like, no, I just can't. Like, I've had clients who are like, I can't make reels. I hate reels. And I'm like, so don't make reels. The thing that's very trendy right now. I was talking with Emilie about this, like the carousels where we're just swiping. They want you to stay. So it could be, here's a picture of me, Kristina, with text, same picture, but different text on each slide. And we're just swiping through. I think it's worth playing with video as well to think like different people consume things differently. If I want to hit different people, then I should try different things, but also that feel good to me. It could just be your voiceover with showing the forest and your feet. It doesn't always have to be your face. If it's not comfortable for you, and like we've been talking about, taking those baby steps. So how can video look to you, and does it feel worthwhile to continue to like challenge yourself to show up if it's just a discomfort versus a like, I feel in my soul that this is not the way that I'm meant to show up. There's definitely like a difference there that if you tune into yourself, you'll know. And different people are meant to show up differently, and that's okay. So I love that you're challenging yourself, because some people will try to tell me that like it's not like that, it's like their soul is rejecting it when really it's just their discomfort. And we're all on our own journeys. They'll figure it out. But sometimes I'm like, I feel like you could try this once or twice more, or
Right.
this could just be a story that you're telling yourself that's not true.
Yeah.
So I like that you're investigating it for yourself as well. And it's something that you probably have to work on with your clients, because I bet a lot of them are freaked out to come even get photos with you.
Yeah. And that's why it's like, I like video in that respect, of that I can share, behind the scenes videos. So it's just, we're usually the camera, the behind the scenes camera is just being ignored, right? So they're focusing on me and just getting that. And then you're kind of seeing what it's like to be on the camera. So you can see what it's like to work with me and kind of my energy. And that's why I don't, I tell people, I'm like, well, you're not going to see me dancing on a reel, because that's not authentic to me. Like, that's not who I am at all. So I will not show up like that.
No.
But am I comfortable now, just ignoring the camera as it's going through and panning through our session? Yeah, that's easy for me to do. And that's why I prefer to show up on, my videos and reels and things like that. I'm not going to be teaching and educating right yet, because I'm just still not quite comfortable in that respect. I think I will be one day, but not yet. So yeah, just kind of that trial there of like, okay, is this my comfort? Am I good with this? Can I try it this way? Yeah. So you never know people are gonna like. Like, I did one reel of like, I was like, hey, I'm just gonna clean my computer screen, put a little note like, hey, don't forget to clean your screen before a photo shoot. And like, it got like 3,000 views. I'm like, this was ridiculous.
Yep.
Like, never know like what random little video that you do is gonna work or not work.
That's usually how it goes. The one that you think about the least gets the most traction. I made a TikTok several years ago. I've had like a few viral moments, and one of them I had to like turn off the comments because I made a TikTok asking. So in my neighborhood, all the men back into their driveways and all the women drive head first in. And I was like, what is it like with men backing in and women going straight out? And I was majorly educated by these men as to why they back into their driveways. And now I back in everywhere. And it's called combat parking, or like that's what a lot of men call it. I combat park everywhere now. And they taught me a lot, but I was so like, it is not necessarily a goal to go viral. That is like, it is not necessarily helpful. It really dysregulates your nervous system. I can tell you that. And I learned a ton. So I got what I needed out of that conversation. I turned off comments, and now I combat park, and I have been for the past 3 years. So that was something I just like, was like curious, sitting in my car, threw up on TikTok, and then my phone died because so many people were commenting and stitching and doing crazy stuff. But yeah, it's funny because we overthink so much of this, and that's okay too. But the one thing when you're just so over it, you throw it up, and then here you are, viral.
Yep. Yeah, it's not a goal of mine at all. I'm like, I'm fine with staying local and doing local shoots only, staying in Washington. I don't need to go outside of Washington and do shoots. So going viral is not going to do anything for me. It's not going to help.
Yeah.
So I want the local connections.
I finally listened to, and I don't know how you feel about audiobooks in this way, but I've like I was super anti audiobooks. And then I learned on Threads, which is my new place where I'm thriving. Somebody had posted that if you have Spotify Premium, which we have, that you get free audiobooks there as well. And so I was searching through what they had available, and they have so many. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And there are certain books that I would have in my stack forever that I'm never going to get to actually reading. And The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is one of them by Stephen Covey. And they had it on Spotify. So I listened to it, and he talks a lot about like your sphere of influence. And I think about that all the time. Like, I'm here for the local business owners. That's who I want to help. I don't want to be out in Minnesota helping people, because that's not where I'm like where my business is located, where I like really have invested in the community. Not to say I don't love people in Minnesota. There's several people I love in Minnesota, but I need to be here. And my sphere of influence can get bigger over time here, and it can grow nationally, but I'm always going to care the most about being here and really indexing on the people closest to me, and then who can they help. And I always go back to that, like when the lizard brain of me is like, oh, maybe you need to be viral again. No, you don't. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I would rather reach 30 people in like my town and surrounding areas than I would 30,000 around the world if we're not able to be in relationship with each other. And that's just kind of how I build my life. And everyone's different, but I love, like, there's just so much connection that we have in, like, I just want to hug trees with
Mm-hmm.
people who live in Washington,
Right.
maybe Idaho, maybe some Oregon, because I get those states as well, but mostly there. Little
Mhm.
Montana, sure.
Right.
Somewhere I can drive to, great. I want to ask you some rapid fire questions that we ask everybody, and I'm excited to hear your answers. What are you proudest of in your business right now, Kristina?
Probably the willingness to put myself out there, embracing that fear and just going for it. Yeah. Just
It's a
doing
big
it,
one.
asking
Yeah.
more, just, yeah, willing to learn more. Yeah, that growth. It's going forward.
It's so uncomfortable
It
and
is.
so necessary.
Mhm.
So underlining that for you. Tell us about a book you read or podcast you listen to. And I know you read even more than I do, which is wild, that changed the way you're thinking about your life or your business. And it doesn't have to be a business or life book. It's just something that makes you think. And tell us too how many books you read per year.
Last year was my best year at like 180 books. So that was, I have my fun reads, and then I have like an audiobook, which is a newer thing that I do lately. I used to not be a kind of anti audiobooks as well before that, but I usually have like a fun audiobook that I'll listen to, and then like a learning audiobook. So yeah, got a lot of books last year. This year I'm at like 66 books, I think, so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's not even halfway through. You could beat your goal.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'm like trying not to like be too focused on how many books I read, just kind of more just enjoying books. God, that's a hard one because it kind of depends on what the theme is. I really love Mike Michalowicz's books, all of his books. So he did The Profit First. That was probably one of like the pivotal books for me. I was actually one of my first like business books I read, because I used to not do business books either. I used to just be for fun, fantasy, romance, that type of books. But I'd read that just shortly after I'd started my business. And it helped me kind of set up my money in a way that's beneficial for the business. And so it's one of the books that like, okay, you're starting a new business, or, you're struggling with money, you need to read Profit First. You don't need to fully, you don't need to structure it exactly like how he structures in the book, but at least take away that, set up your own business account and set up, at least, at least three accounts within that business account, set aside taxes, and then set aside, your money, your spending money, and then also set aside money that you're going to pay yourself. Because if you're not paying yourself, why are you in business? So then ideally you'll be trying to spend less on your business, and then you'll kind of be you'll be smarter with how you use and spend your money. like kind of realizing, okay, is this essential? Is this going to help me grow? Is this going to bring that ROI? Yes. Okay. Then it's worth that investment in spending. So yeah, that was really beneficial for me.
And that's a note to all the girlies saying,
Mhm.
I'm just trying to break even. I'm not in it for the money. You need to be in it for the
Mhm.
money.
And it's not
Like,
selfish to say like,
no.
okay, I like money. Well, money brings you happiness in many ways. It, means that you can provide for your family, means you can just, survive. You
Yeah.
can go, on a fun trip. You can, buy, your kid, your mom, your family, yourself, something that you enjoy. You can take time for yourself because, you don't need to work in your business 24/7. You can, take off a month or a week or whatever it is because you've set aside that fund to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also like, there's so much conversation around like money is greedy, and Elise Lowen's book of the seven deadly sins and how they affect women. And it's just so important, that conversation, because it's not bad. Like, we
Mm-hmm.
need money to survive. And we also like can't, like, you cannot do your job if you're not being paid. You cannot serve people more if you do not have money. So
Mm-hmm.
women not wanting money is not the move. It's not the marketing message. Please stop saying that. Get off my soapbox now, Whitney, please. But I know that you agree
All the
with
time.
me.
Yeah, we need to get on it all the time.
Yeah. What would your last meal be? And we're talking last meal ever.
I don't know. Probably something sweet. I'm definitely a sweet person.
And don't you have some intolerances? Like,
Yeah,
all your
I
intolerances aside, throw them away if you want.
right. I mean, so yeah, because I have a thyroid issue, so I've like cut out gluten, dairy, soy, sugar, those things. But yeah, I definitely do miss burgers. Like
Mm,
just full like burgers, cheese and bun and yeah,
yes.
that
Oh,
sounds
so
good.
juicy. What's the best business purchase you've made in the last 6 months under $100?
Mm, like what have I purchased lately? It would probably be, let's say I just took a course last week actually with from Adventure.
Uh-huh. True Adventure Co.
Yes, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
It was all about the psychology of sales.
Mm.
And yeah, that was just under, and that was great. Kind of understanding that sometimes you put, like before your call, before you do a sales call, that you should, evaluate how you're feeling. Am I putting any of my own assessments on this client? Right. Because sometimes you get the intake form of, okay, they filled out these things. Oh, hey, they're doing this type of work. Oh, that's the exact type of client I want. Maybe they might be my ideal client, realizing that they might not be, or even they might be doing something like, oh, I don't know if I want to work with that type of business owner, and realizing, oh, hey, but they are actually, they're ready to be seen. They want to be seen. They're all, they meet all the other things. So then they are actually an ideal client. So just kind of learning how to evaluate and assess and be in the right mindset to do those sales calls with clients, and then how to evaluate how it went and how to continue making that even, replicable for
Yeah.
next thing. So that was a really great, really eye-opening course for me that I really liked.
That's such important nuance too, because the so much of our lives, especially me as a like pick me perfectionist growing up, is very much like, well, I want them to pick me, and not checking in with myself. I've become so much better about this over time of like, do I actually want to do this? Like, before we started recording, we were talking about spring break, and I had a couple new client things that I was mulling over or had sent proposals for. And then I was like, the one of the proposals expired, and I was like, good. I'm gone on spring break, and I'm like, this is giving me perspective of like, I don't want them, and could have been good money, but they don't get what I do, and I'm not going to fight with them to like teach them why it's worthwhile that I do what I do. So if they come back around, I'm just going to say no. And, at the beginning of my business, I was very much not like that, and very scarce in a lot of ways. So I might look into that. Katrina's great.
Yeah.
And we had her on the podcast too, so we could link her episode.
Mm-hmm.
What's lighting you up lately?
As cliche as it sounds, probably the sun that's coming out. It's nice to have like, and it leads into the weather, right? That everybody, wants to get out because it's nice and sunny. we have the green that's coming through. So I'm really excited that we have the spring green. Spring and fall are my favorite seasons. I like that and I like that change of like, okay, now everything's going to start turning green and vibrant, or it's going into, fall. And we got that change and that color change. That's been nice. Seeing the light again.
Spring green.
Right. Photography, it's all about, green, you're analyzing the light that's coming in. And when it's really dark and overcast, I don't mind the rain at all. I never have. But when it comes to photography, I'm like, I need the light. I need the light.
I found myself standing in it today. I'll just stop. Like when we're out on walks, I'll stop in the middle of the road and just turn my face to the sun because it feels so good and like it forces me to pause. Like I literally stop and smell the roses and just remind myself of how simple it can be and checking in with myself. So the light, it's funny too, because you think like, oh, I'm fine. Then it comes out and you're like, oh, like
right.
I feel like I'm alive again.
Right.
Last question that we stole from Rainn Wilson after I read his book, and he asks it on his podcast. What's one life experience everyone should have? It's a hard one and a good one, huh?
Like, what is there? I mean, because I probably recently went through it. It's failing at something. Because even though it sucks and it's hard to go through, it's going to teach you so much. And you're going to learn, you're going to grow from it. So whatever that is, especially if it's, in your business, having that less than ideal client, or you think they might be an ideal client and realizing that they weren't, and then learning like, okay, hey, now I need to change some things. We need to change some systems. We need to get a little bit better in place with this and more clear on my vision and how to express my vision. So then you can kind of move forward with that.
Yeah, that's such a big one too, because like I was saying earlier, we've been conditioned so much of like not to fail and what does success look like. And I share a lot about like being kind to yourself because of, I need to hear it too. So if I need to hear it, someone else probably needs to hear it because little perfectionists definitely struggle with that. And like, what is failure? Is this a failure? How am I using it for fuel? It's just so much. And it's so on you because you are your business. So I'm thinking of you in that because I've been there and I love that you're learning about it too. And like with that Kristina course as well, like, okay, what do I need to learn and how can I be better for myself and for my clients? It's definitely learning for sure.
There was someone, I can't remember where I'd seen it, but kind of like, especially when it comes like kids and asking kids like, oh, how was your day? What did you learn? Someone had said that their parents would ask them like, oh, what did you fail at today? And then, right. And then they'd like talk about what they failed at and realizing like, oh, hey, we learned from that failure. I thought that was really cool. I was like, I really want to do that with my kids a little bit more. Like, what'd you fail at today? What didn't go so great?
My kids, they have some cool language at their school about happy mistakes. And it's not just like in art, it's in like PE. They'll talk about happy mistakes and how they can move in a different direction. Then all the teachers talk to each other to use the same language, which I really appreciate because nobody talked about happy mistakes in school for me when I was growing up. And I mean, that's like low level failure or just a different way to message it. But yeah, you can play around with some language too, because kids, it's like you tweak one way of asking a question, not like how was school today? My son would say, I don't remember anything that I learned. And so I would say, okay, what do you remember that you learned today? And then he's like, oh, and he taught me something about vowels or whatever. And so tweaking that language, like, okay, ask the failure question. If they can't answer that, ask it a little bit like, what didn't go so well? Or, whatever. Your kids are a little older, right?
11 and 8.
Yeah. So they might be I don't know if my son would be able to answer. He's 6, like what he failed at, but he could definitely tell me, what didn't go as well. And I love that. We'll have to follow up and see how it went. Kristina, where can everyone find you? How can they book you?
Well, Instagram is always a good place. That's my social media platform. So Kristina Pearl Photography, or then, checking out my website from there, KristinaPearlPhotography.com. Yeah. kind of just using that same tag, like Kristina Pearl photography across everything.
Yes, we love consistency. And your retreats on your website too?
Yes. Or it's not full yet. Yes, it is in a blog post, but then same thing, Instagram on that, that link's in there. It's in there, and kind of follow the links from there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Sign up for her email list as well,
Yes,
because
we have that.
it's a good read, and it's fun to keep in touch with you that way as well. You do a really good job of keeping them tight and telling me what you want to know, what I want to know, and not beating us over the head, and also being in the inbox. So
Mhm.
some people I'm like, you could email me twice a day and I'd be cool with it, and you're one of them. So
Thank you.
thank you for being
That's
here,
like a live
and
and learn thing.
yeah, and thank you for all you do for the business community. So
Thank you
I
for
hope
having
you,
me.
yeah, of course. And thank you for listening to this episode of The Coast. We will be back with another great interview next week. Bye.